Good afternoon, friends and members of the Soil family. It's so nice to be with you in this time and space. So, I think we can begin like with our morning circle as if we are holding hands. And I think Namrata is holding my hand here. And Millie is going to be also coming inside. So, it's like doing a morning circle. And you can imagine that Millie is also here and Namrata is also here. So, I think we will say a prayer. So, let's all say a prayer. अखण्डमण्डलाकारं व्याप्तं येन चराचरं तत्पदं दर्शितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुरेव परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। चिन्मयं व्यापि यत्सर्वं त्रैलोक्यं सचराचरं तत्पदं दर्शितं येन तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। त्वमेव माता च पिता त्वमेव बन्धुश्च सखा त्वमेव विद्या द्रविणं त्वमेव सर्वं मम देव त्वमेव सर्वं मम देव। Thank you. So, I think the whole process of being together and being part of the Soil family is such a wonderful occasion for me. And I thought that the only thing about this technology is that only I am speaking to you and you are not able to speak back at me, but you will have obviously an opportunity to express yourself. And Namrata, who is a student of Soil, as you know, and now an alumnus and who works with Soil, is going to assist me in looking at all that you are saying so that she can repeat it and we know the kind of comments you are making and the kind of questions you are asking. So I think as many of you know, I have just finished celebrating a very important milestone in my life. My daughter Mehak got married on 8th of February, last Saturday, so exactly a week back. And this is something that all parents look forward to, of getting their daughters happily married. So thanks to good wishes which many of you expressed and the blessings that were sent for Mehak and Karan, the whole function went off very well. And Karan is somebody who has known Mehak for the last 7 years. His name is Karan Kapoor. He is a student of the HEC Business School. He just finished his MBA. And like many of the Soil students, he is giving interviews for different jobs, both in Europe and in India. And I don't know where they are going to stay. My daughter works for McKinsey and Company. And you know, we are looking forward to tonight. She's coming back. Last night they returned after their honeymoon. And tonight we are looking forward to meeting them in their new capacity as my son-in-law and daughter. And that was a very important personal milestone I wanted to share with you, and many of you through Facebook and otherwise have sent me greetings, so I want to thank you for that. I also wanted to share more things about Soil and what's happening here, both in our lives and in the faculty here and the new things that we are up to. But before I do that, I thought it's a good opportunity for you to briefly talk about what are the updates from your side. Anything that you are moved to share in this circle of the 1 hour that we have together. So if you can type out your responses, and I'll ask Namrata to show me so that I can also speak them aloud so that all of us know the kind of responses you yourself are giving to keep each other informed. Of course, I've had the wonderful joy of hosting dinner both in Pune and Mumbai recently for some of you, and I met with some of you recently after a long gap. So I really enjoyed connecting with you again and hearing about what you are up to, both personally and professionally. And those were very joyful evenings that in the last 7-8 weeks I have spent with some of you. And I propose to do that in the next few months also as I visit different cities. But meanwhile, it would be important for you to share. So, Namrata, are some sharing already started?
No.
Okay, so sharing will start. I think I request you to share just some highlights so that when I speak them aloud, those highlights can then be known to each one of you, and you know what these sharing are with each other. Meanwhile, let me talk about some developments here in soil. I think the 5th batch of soil is about to graduate. This is a batch of nearly 107 students, and this is a batch which, like many other batches, has had this wonderful experience of experiencing the ecstasy and the joy of being together in the opening few months, then getting used to the pressure and rhythm of the school and its schedules, then going to the Sidbari trip and getting very deeply moved by that experience, then coming back and straight away starting for the placement activity which has been going on. So far about 35 students of this batch have got good jobs, and the usual challenges of appearing for interviews and not necessarily making the cut, and then learning from that and making another attempt, all that is going on. And next few weeks, more and more job interviews are being conducted and so on. So I think this is that time of the year, as many of you know, where there are just about 9 or 10 weeks left for the completion of the course. The uppermost concern in many students is how to crack the interviews and get the right job. At the same time, this is also a time when new learning and courses are going on simultaneously. And so that's what is happening to the 5th batch. I think one thing very unique that has happened, however, for this 5th batch is that for the first time, 4 of them have gone together as a team to MIP in Italy on this exchange program. And MIP is the university with whom we have had this exchange program for some time. Some of you are aware that in your batches we have hosted students from MIP. Last year we had 2 students, before that we had 1 student. So we have so far hosted 3 of them, and now for the first time 4 of our students have gone there. And from all the Facebook updates that we are getting, and also from the information we are getting, they seem to be enjoying themselves immensely, both inside the classroom and in the city. They are living in a house which belongs to an Indian who hosts Indian students, who gives them a feeling of home, away from home, and that's also in the downtown area, which therefore they get a complete feel of the Milan culture. And Milan, as you know, is a beautiful city. So this is going on. With this MIP Institute, you will also be very happy to know that we have decided to deepen our partnership with MIP. MIP is ranked the 25th best university in the world, and I visited them a few months back. So they have a school of engineering, a school of design, and a school of innovation, which are all present next to each other. Also a school of energy. And since all these schools are all together, so it's something which is very wonderful. And they have, along with Harvard University and the Harvard Business School, they have joint research and work in the area of innovation and design. So in soil, we were thinking that all the 5 pillars of soil are the ones which help us to think really in an innovative way. So we have the 5 verticals, which are the pillars, and the horizontal is transformation through innovation. Therefore, in order to really emphasize that, as many of you are aware, we have courses ranging from personal creativity to innovation to whole systems thinking in soil, and we always emphasize the area of innovation, especially social innovation through the SIP that we call. So we are bringing all this together into a partnership with MIP, in which we will be jointly coming out with new programs. So in the business leadership course, for example, we are going to co-brand that whole course jointly with MIP that the BLP course unique differentiation will be on design thinking and innovation, so that design thinking and innovation can help people to get back into jobs like big data and analytics and business analysts and project management for IT, but also that design thinking and innovation can help in those who wish to work in supply chain and operations. Also, it will help in those who wish to work in the area of marketing and business development and sales. And so the differentiator of SOIL along with MIP will be this whole aspect of design thinking and innovation. So I thought I should share this very important news with you. That is something that has happened. Also in this fifth batch which is going on here, I think the most important thing that is happening here is also that this year we have been giving thought to how to prepare for our new offering that we are going to develop in Pune, in the campus in Pune, where we are going to work on a 2-year program. So as you know, we have bought the land in Pune. As you know, we have applied for that agricultural land to be converted into institutional use to the government authorities. And as you know, because of our principles of ethics, we are not going to give any bribes or do any such work. And so it is going to take its own time for us to get the approvals, but we are working on it. We have already appointed an architect. The first concept plan has been submitted to the government for approval. And in that institute in Pune, which we are calling the Inspired Leadership Gurukul, which is located next to the Vibhuti Ashram of Chinmaya Mission in a place called Kolvan, which is about 30 minutes by car from the point in Pune called Chandni Chowk. So you drive towards a village called Paud, and next to Paud, a few kilometers from there, is Kolvan. Very beautiful surroundings of Kolvan village. So there in this Pune campus, where we are going to develop a 2-year program, we thought that instead of waiting for these next 2 years or 3 years, by the time that program becomes a big reality, and we can finish the construction, enroll the students, and they begin to study there, which might take between 2 to 3 years, we thought that even before that, we should, as a pilot case, launch a 2-year program in Gurgaon, so that we have one cycle of 2 years in Gurgaon, and then we can think of doing that program in Pune. So currently we are on the drawing board in designing a 2-year program which will be completely in partnership with MIP, and subject to the commercial negotiation and revenue sharing and fees sharing going on well, we are going to make sure that this 2-year program that we have is completely co-designed, leading to a MBA degree awarded by MIP, which is an international degree, world recognized. And so there are some students in SOIL who worry about the fact that we only give a certificate, that it is not recognized by the government. So in order to overcome that, we are planning to introduce a 2-year program with a full-fledged degree of MIP University. And in that, the entire curriculum will be co-taught by MIP and SOIL faculty, and therefore we are planning to launch that first version of that this year itself. So if all goes well, within the next 2 weeks, we should finalize everything with MIP, so that by the middle of March or the beginning of March, we can start doing the marketing for the first batch of a 2-year program in SOIL, which targets mostly people who are fresh out of college or with less experience, and they will study with us for 2 years. So that's an exciting new development that we are doing in partnership with MIP, which I thought I should share with you. There are many more things to share, but meanwhile, I'm requesting Namrata to tell me who has been struggling to get in and out of the website for this some reason for this webinar. So can you tell me what others are sharing so far? Can you bring your laptop to me, please? I will read out what Suraj is writing. Suraj Vishwanath from the charter batch. So great, Suraj, that you are on this community today. So very nice. I can't see you, but I can feel your presence. So I'll read out what Suraj has written. Suraj has written, "Sir, the leadership appreciation journey initiated by you at SOIL is still keeping me going. It helped me a lot in my consulting and research assignments in the last 4 years. It helped me connect with Matt Barney, the head of Infosys Leadership Institute, who could recognize the appreciation that in turn was crucial in connecting to researchers in Australia. Eager to visit you when I am back in India in March, and hope someday I can give back at least a bit of what we looked through qualifying for taking part in consulting and teaching assignments in soil in the next 2 to 3 years. Thank you. And Suraj, I am planning to come next year to Australia to watch the World Cup cricket. I've just booked my tickets. So, I will be in Adelaide and Melbourne and in Perth. So if you are in one of these cities, we should coordinate so that we definitely meet you while we are there. It would be so nice. So thank you very much for sharing, Suraj. And it's very nice that you have shared this comment. I'm sure there are many others who would like to share what's going on in your life. But I just wanted to say to Suraj, I distinctly remember how even before applying to soil, I remember you were the one student with whom I had a long conversation about the idea of soil. And I was really struck by the fact that you chose to join the first batch, the charter batch, when even the building here was not complete. And I think we had this very intense the first year together. Many of you from the charter batch will remember that. And I'm so glad that you are doing so well in Infosys and you are enjoying yourself.
We have a few more.
There are a few more comments that have come which I'd like to share. So Ambikesh Ratnu, you are now in Jaipur, or I don't know where this comment is from, because against your name is written at KV number 1 Jaipur. Maybe that's just your school name, Kendriya Vidyalaya number 1 Jaipur. So Ambikesh, so nice to have you on this webinar. And you mentioned that a month back you have started your own entrepreneurial journey with two very senior leaders from Ogilvy in brand management, advertising and PR, including media relations. Oh, that's amazing. I think you deserve to have a very big hand. I didn't realize that you have already become an entrepreneur, Ambikesh, although I must say that when you were in People Strong, I think you were always having this yearning to do something new and different. I didn't know what that was, so it's very fascinating for me to hear that you are actually joining a startup and creating a startup in brand. So that's something very interesting. I look forward to hearing more about what you are up to. So good, Ambikesh, that you shared. I also want to share what Akash Kumar has shared, who's working as a consultant at Maverick Systems. So Akash, you have shared that here at Maverick Systems, there are 10 of the soil people. You are all doing very wonderful work. I can vouch to that because the other day in the Mumbai dinner that I know Anand Patil, who's on this webinar, was also there. I think the founder of Maverick, Subbu, along with Avirup from HR, who passed out of soil last year, they both dropped in because they were in Bombay conducting interviews in Narsi Monji, and they joined us briefly for dinner. And so I know what you have written here, that you are all doing great, and being from soil, the organization really looks up to us. Yes, I think that is something that very nice, because the Maverick founders are all people that I had personally recruited from XLRI and MDI. They worked with me in Aisher Consultancy. I have been their mentor for many years, and it is very nice for me to see that they have created a company that is now employing over 1,000 people, and that they have become one of the large recruiters of soil, from soil. So, that gives me also a lot of satisfaction to see their journey, just like I now get joy of seeing your journey as you pass out and as you create companies and you create jobs and provide employment. And you say that everyone has been performing well, and Siddharth Sen recently won the Service Strategy Award for last quarter for exhibiting reliability and passion at work. Wonderful. That's really kudos to the soil team in Maverick, and to Siddharth and Akash, to you and everyone else. So that's wonderful. Yeah. So these are some sharings that happened which Namrata told me, which I wanted to share. So now let me continue sharing something more. So in the Pune campus, I want to go a little bit deeper into what is really keeping us busy on the conception of Pune. You see, it's a completely not-for-profit objective in Pune, and the Inspired Leadership Gurukul is a Section 25 company, which is therefore it's called a not-for-profit company. The reason it is still a company is because a corporate model is easier to operate rather than a trust or a society. And Government of India now approves educational institutions and even high schools be set up as Section 25 companies, because it gives a lot more freedom and also builds a lot more accountability on how you use funds and how do you report governance and so on and so forth. So in Pune, we are thinking of, and this is something I'm sure our alumni will help us also to shape a lot. In the 2-year program, the first year we want to keep common, but in the second year we want to have either 2 or 3 different cohorts. One focusing on those who want to enter public life and politics, therefore young people who want to make a difference. And I know there have been some students of soil in the past who have expressed a keen interest to get into politics but didn't know how to do it. So one cohort will focus on public affairs and politics. The other cohort will be focusing on this whole area of community service and NGO work. And third is, of course, those who want to enter business and want to become innovators in business. That means either they create new innovation and entrepreneurial ideas inside a company, or they set up entrepreneurial ventures of their own, especially with strong values and social face. The ideal would be if they become social entrepreneurs or help their companies to become more socially friendly enterprises. So given this frame of all 3 of them, and it is also possible that nearer time we may have not 3 cohorts but 2 cohorts, one for public affairs and community service and NGO work, and the other for entrepreneurship and business. So these are the ideas that initially we have. We had our first design workshop in the Gurgaon campus a few weeks back, and we are going to invite you to many such gatherings, including the one which we will do in the Vibhuti Ashram in the not too distant future, in which we will be inviting you also to come and participate, where we have to design the whole approach, the curriculum and everything for the Pune campus. So that's what is going on there. Of course, to talk more about the Pune campus, we will make sure that it is designed in a way which is very environmentally friendly. We own 17 acres of land there, 17. So we have fair bit of land to grow our own trees. There is also a stream of water which is going. We will be making a very small lake inside. There will of course be residential facilities for staff and students to live inside the campus. And if all goes well, we want the first batch of students to join there in 2015, and so that 2015 and 16 is also the year of 100 years of Swami Chinmayananda's life, and we are celebrating 100 years of Gurudev's lives as a centenary celebrations. So as a part of that, Soil has been asked by Guruji, Swami Tejomayanandaji, who is the current worldwide head of Chinmay Mission, to organize a world leadership dialogue in the Vibhuti Ashram next to the land which we have purchased. And we are hoping that in that world leadership dialogue, which will have 400 participants from different parts of the country and some from overseas, dedicated to understanding the importance of Bhagavad Gita, we are hoping at that particular time, when that 4 days process takes place in December of 2015, we also have an active group of students nearby who are studying for the Soil New program on wanting to make a difference. So these are things that we are dreaming about and working on for the Pune project. As far as the Gurgaon program is concerned, I already talked about the wonderful partnership that we are conceptualizing with MIP. And I think at this moment, I want to pause a little, give you a moment to reflect and to share what you are moved to share in response to what I just now said. Because I don't want this to become just a one-way traffic of me speaking at you. So kindly do share things from your own life and also your response to what I have been speaking. So So Akshay, of course, I saw you briefly as I was leaving the Soil campus yesterday. And you have asked for Akshay that you, during Pune Alumni chapter, you mentioned you will be proposing a course for Soil alumni very soon. Please share your plans on the same. So this is a course that is going to be offered. Most likely it will be offered during this period between July to October. In fact, something that will be very useful from your perspective is for you to tell us what should be the location of this course. Because Namrata, you have to do this survey that we are going to get alumni back to Soil to study with us. And it's like a refresher on inspired leadership, which we have been talking about. So all the alumni are invited. So it's going to be a week-long affair. So my preference for that is either Siddhbadi Ashram or the Vibhuti Ashram, because that is the place where large number of people can stay. And my bias is to do it in one of the ashrams. So I think you should do the survey and you should propose the dates. My suggestion is that it should be the month of between, let's say, July to October. You propose a set of dates and the alumni should tell us which are the ones that they would like to sign up for, which is the number one preference. And depending upon the majority choice, we will do that whole week there together. And I think it will help also in people planning their leave. And we will design it in such a way from a modular concept point of view. And we will do it right up to, it will also include the weekend. So if some of you are not able to take leave, at least you are able to come for the weekend, which has high intensity. And other days are comparatively low intensity, but more also opportunity to catch up and co-create things with each other so that you can also develop bonds with each other more. So in the other days, we will have a little lighter intensity, and on the weekend, we will have high intensity. And therefore, this whole affair of a week-long learning design, Namrata will send to you in the next few days. And it will be important for you to tell us which particular location and timing suits all the alumni the most. And needless to say that the entire hosting of all the alumni in the ashram and all the expenses associated with that, including all the faculty time and all of our time, obviously we will be doing it completely on behalf of Soil, so you don't have to spend a single rupee, but you will have to spend that money to travel either to Siddhbadi or to the Vibhuti Ashram, depending upon what you prefer. So that's something that we will do. At this moment, I am stopping for a few minutes just for you to give your response to what I have just spoken on the different things about the Pune campus, about the joint program with MIP, about this alumni development program that I just talked about, and any other subject that you wish to share, either what is happening in your life or any other thing you are moved to share in response to what I just said. So I'm going to keep quiet for a few minutes to give you a chance to respond. Okay, now that you have thought about what I just said and you have had a chance to respond, I'm going to share some more. So first of all, I want to now move towards the developments that have been taking place in the Soil organization. Some of you are aware that we are very fortunate to have recruited a new dean who joined us last year around April of 2013. Some of you have met him, some of you have heard about him. His name is Dr. Shubhojit Ray, Dr. Shubho Ray, as we call him Shubho. And Shubho was earlier the dean of Xavier's Institute in Bhubaneswar. He was the youngest dean of any top business school in India. He is originally, he has his master's degree from Indian Statistical Institute in Kolkata. Then he worked in Reserve Bank of India. And from there he took leave to go and do his doctorate and fellows program from IIM Ahmedabad. He is a thinker in the area of quantitative techniques and quantitative thinking. And that makes him a natural to also prepare himself for thinking in the area of big data and analytics. So his subject is very complementary to some of the background that some of us have. And Shubho was appointed as the youngest dean of XIMB, and he was somebody who had a great enabling way. He's also originally a student of the Ramakrishna Mission High School in West Bengal. So some of you who have heard of the Ramakrishna Mission School know the kind of values those people have. And not only the board of XIMB Bhubaneswar chose him as the youngest dean, they gave him another extension as a second term after he finishes his first 3-year term. And that was the time I met him, and I realized that he has a young son, and he and his wife, by the way, his wife is the daughter of Madhavi Mukherjee, who is perhaps West Bengal's best known actress who used to work with Satyajit Ray. Madhavi Mukherjee is a brilliant actress. So her daughter has married Shubho Ray, for those of you who have interest in movies and art and so on. And so Shubho met me and said that he and his wife have been discussing that they are a bit concerned about the quality of education of their son, because Bhubaneswar doesn't have schools of the stature like other parts of the country. So therefore they were very interested in exploring options outside Bhubaneswar. And I talked to them about soil, talked to Shubho about soil, and one thing led to the other, so he joined. So we are very fortunate that he is here, because obviously he has a great depth of understanding of academic affairs, and I think in a short while that he has been here, he has been adding a lot of value. He is the one who is spearheading this partnership with MIP in Italy and co-designing all this course together. So that's one person I wanted to share with you who joined SOIL, and we are very fortunate to have his academic leadership. The other person I wanted to share with you was that we had, and that's again some of you have met him. His name is Rajendra Midha. Rajendra ji joined us as our Chief Operating Officer, which means everything except academic affairs really is something that he personally puts an eye on. So which means that he puts an eye on finance. So he's like the CFO of the company. He's also the company's secretary. He is also oversees IT, and some of you are aware we have introduced a new campus management solution from Fedena, which is a web-based solution called MySoil, which is a great improvement over the Oracle and PeopleSoft solution that we had earlier. And he also looks after facilities management and administration and infrastructure. He also looks after HR for the HR part of the SOIL, and therefore he is also responsible for the well-being of all the SOIL students. He also looks after the Pune project. So the entire work of buying the land, of getting the government approvals, of appointing the architect, of raising funds for Pune, all that is his responsibility. So Rajendra Bida was working with me in Grow Talent Company Limited for many years. And when we transferred our HR consulting business to Right Management, he became the CFO of Right Management in this part of the world. He also had some regional responsibility. And in the following year, he was voted as the best finance leader of Right Management globally. So he's an amazing person with very strong values, very strong people skills, which is rare for somebody who has only a finance background. And I think he has shown the level of maturity, and I think his coming here has helped us to make improvements in many areas in finance, technology, and the Pune project, where everything is done above board and done in a positive way. So that's the second senior leader that we invested in, who joined us last year in January and therefore has just finished 1 year with SOIL. And the third person who joined us in October, therefore he is there for the last 5 months, is somebody called Shiv Chandra. Shiv Chandra is our Vice President for Consultancy, Executive Education and Careers. That means the consulting division and the CMS have been merged together. And Shiv Chandra's background is that he is an engineer from Delhi College of Engineering and did his MBA from IIT Delhi. And then he was working with GE as a black belt, Six Sigma black belt. Then he worked with Ernst & Young business consulting and Aon Hewitt HR consulting. And so he has worked both in industry and in consulting. And he brings wealth of background both on the business consulting side and HR consulting and talent management side. And he's a very enthusiastic young leader. So Renu Mishra and the CMS team reports to him, and all the consultants that we have, many of them are soil students like Ankush Chopra or Yogita Ahuja or Surbhi Sharma. They all report to Shiv Chandra. And so Shiv is this third amazing leader who joined us in October. So we now have three important leaders to support me, one on the consulting and CMS side so that my workload there is reduced, one on the running all the campus affairs and the Pune project so that I don't get under pressure, in fact, on all the details of the work, and the third is on academic affairs where Dr. Shubho Ray is the one who's responsible for all the program chairs report to him, so does marketing and so does the responsibility. Therefore, Shiv Chandra on CMS reports to Shubho, and on the executive education part he reports to me. So he has a dotted line relationship on dual reporting. So these significant changes inside the organization structure of SOIL, I thought I should also share with you so that you know what's going on. Meanwhile, are there other things you are moved to share?
So,
Yeah.
Amber has written he looks forward to seeing you in Bangalore.
Yeah. So Amber, you know, every time I think of you, a smile comes on my face because, you know, last time I met you at last year at that Soil Premier League cricket tournament with you and your wife, your wonderful wife, both of you were carrying those smile cards and which you were freely distributing to others. So I think it's you perhaps, I don't know if you have fully read that or you are aware of it, I am sure you have. For those of SOIL alumni who have not seen that video on YouTube, please see this YouTube video. You say Pavi Mehta, this lady called Pavi, P for Pune, A for Apple, V for Victory, I for India, Pavi Mehta, on the power of generosity. See, Pavi and her husband, Nipun Mehta, many years back in California, when the economy was doing very badly in America, they started something called the Generosity Initiative. That means they started doing free websites for people as an act of service. They are also the ones, they and their friends created the world's largest volunteer force. It's called servicespace.org. Now 500,000 people all over the world are members of Service Space. They are the people who also do this free restaurant in California called Karma Kitchen, where when you go and eat there, the meal is free, the bill comes saying $0. At the end is written, your meal was paid for by some generous and kind-hearted people who left some money earlier for you. If you like, you can leave money behind for the other people who will come and eat here, and the amount of money you want to leave behind is entirely up to you. This is called the Generosity Initiative, because generosity, in their opinion, really is very infectious and it grows. And I think this particular initiative that I am talking to you about was also, they are the founders of the Smile Initiative, that worldwide you give people smile cards. I mean, that is something that you can easily give somebody, that here is a smile card, and say something kind to that person, make the person feel good, and that whole initiative then spreads. So Amber, when I think of you and your smile cards, I am reminded of the amazing work of Service Space, and I am reminded a lot about our whole generosity movement. And so in SOIL we believe a lot in the generosity movement. We believe that that helps us to become better individuals and leaders. And every year, as you know, we support a lot of work of the NGOs by giving money in cash, giving time, giving assistance, and of course our entire social innovation program, even through students, is meant to teach each one of us, including the soil alumni and students, the very wonderful gift of giving. So, Amber, you have suggested that that you are in Bangalore and there are 20 soilites there who are waiting to meet me. So, Namrata, you have to make sure that I am likely to go to Bangalore in March. And so with Millie, you need to plan if there is a time that can be worked out that is convenient to also the alumni and the location, so that we can also find a way to be together, that spend at least a couple of hours together in Bangalore. So that is very nice. So thank you, Amber. Thank you for sharing that, and which gave me an opportunity to also share about the Generosity Initiative. I also wanted to now talk about some of the challenges we are facing in soil, because I don't want to just talk about only the good things in soil. I also want to talk to you about some of the challenges, which I think are important challenges that all of us to be aware of. Since you are alumni, I should speak the truth and I should explain to you the challenges we are facing. I think the number one challenge we face is the challenge which is on one side our biggest wealth, on the other side it is also a challenge. So our biggest positive of any educational institution is the work of its alumni. So we now have nearly 370 alumni, all of you working in different parts of the world, and the impact you have in the community, in your organization and in your profession, it creates the brand of soil. So when we have been closely tracking the alumni, out of 370, we have been able to track that there are over 100 alumni who are doing very good work. Their companies are happy, their supervisors are happy, and by and large, they are the ones who are really building the brand of soil. On the other hand, there have been about 20 cases brought to our notice. 20 is not a big number, but nevertheless it should be shared, where there are organizations who are not happy with the work of the soil alumni. The common theme amongst all these 20 people is displaying behavior which is not aligned to the soil values. See, because you come out of soil, people expect that at least on character and values, your behavior will be something they expect it to be of one kind. But because some of the alumni have not demonstrated that behavior, have done things which are not acceptable, it has obviously had an impact on soil. So there are some companies which, having experienced this in some of their students of soil, have refused to recruit more students from soil. I can name a handful of companies that have said we will not come back to this campus in soil because we do not like, and the words they use, your students did not put enough effort, they were not putting in their 100%, they seem to be a bit laid back, they are the people who give excuses for not doing well, they don't produce enough quality, they don't speak the truth, sometimes they question their means of getting work done, etc., etc. So I think this is something that I would urge each one of you who are on this webinar, that no matter where you work, if inside your workplace or in your friend circle with alumni, if you notice an alumnus who is struggling, either consciously not putting in enough effort and therefore having an harmful impact on the brand soil, or is struggling because wants to make a difference but needs help, which cannot be provided only by other alumni. If there are cases like that, I would like them to reach out to us saying, I want to make a difference, I'm struggling to make a difference, I need help. Could soil please provide some kind of help to me? And we would like to consider as to how to assist you, because you have reached out to us and you specifically require help. So this is my request to you, because if You know, I am now 59 years old. I'll be 60 in September this year. In the long run, the people who will be really benefited by the good work of alumni will be all of you and the other alumni. This is not to please the founders, because the founders have nothing, no expectation. I have absolutely zero financial expectation or anything from the work of soil or out of this education division. In fact, that brings me to another point which you will be happy to know, that starting from a few months from now, and where we are seeking some opinion of lawyers and experts, we are going to transfer our even Gurgaon campus MBA program business, the business leadership, MLP, HRLP program, all the revenues to also the same not-for-profit venture, which is called the Inspired Leadership Gurukul, which means the Grow Talent company that invested for 5 years in creating this school, creating this company, going through the first few years of losses, and then now the losses are wiped out. We are back to a initial 0-0 state. Therefore, this year, we are thinking that we will transfer the entire thing for not-for-profit so that everyone can participate in its growth, and the shareholders of Grow Talent have no financial interest in gaining anything out of the education business. But in fact, our whole purpose was to create a model, showcase it, so that in the future, all of you can help to make it grow. And that not-for-profit organization is the one which will drive the education venture forward, whereas the executive education and consultancy division will continue to remain with Grow Talent. And of course, because Grow Talent owns the infrastructure, it will charge some reasonable price from the education company for using the infrastructure and facilities as per acceptable and correct, both ethical and statutory practices. So that's something I wanted to tell you. So the interest of building the brand of soil through your contribution, through your behavior, is something which is extraordinarily important. The second challenge I want to talk about is the fact that we still do not have, although we have 5 years of soil, we still do not have thousands of people lining up to join soil. So it continues to be a struggle to attract the right quality of students to join soil. And so, this year we have so far 31 enrollments. We have another 150 applications that we are processing. There are another 300 people who are interested but have not yet applied. And of course, there are several thousand which are the leads with whom our counselors and other people, they process those leads to convert them into those who are really the right quality and are interested. So this continues to be a significant problem, which is of attracting the right quality of students to join soil, despite the fact that we have been in operation for nearly 5 years now. And I think the reasons for this are many. I think one of the reasons that people talk about, which is really the third challenge, is the placements, both quantity and quality. So, if I look at the number of opportunities given each year to soil students, it's very good. But if we look at the number of opportunities converted by our students, is not enough. Thereby, it leads to dissatisfaction in the students on one side, that we could not crack and get the jobs of the right kind. So if you see, for example, in the charter batch, if the fees was, let's say, 9 lakhs roughly, the average salary was also 9.9 lakhs, for example, for BLP. But over the years, the fees has gradually gone up each year to keeping in mind the inflation, but the average salary has not gone up. Of course, you can argue that the first batch of students of charter batch of soil had people with a little bit more experience, thereby their salaries were a bit higher. But we have found that, and this used to be our dream, that just like a Harvard Business School, if it charges $120,000 for its fees for 2 years, then their average salary is also $120,000. Similarly for the top schools. And in India, the IIMs being subsidized, there in fact the ratio is more than 1. That means the amount you invest in the fees and the average salary you get out. In soil, this 1 which we had in the charter badge of in fact 1 or better in BLP and close to 1 for HRLP, has gradually come down to something like 0.8 now. And depending upon how you interpret it, 0.7 or 0.8, it is still better than many other schools in the country, including it compares very favorably with Great Lakes or ISB or others in terms of the ratio. But this continues to be a fact. So the one we are still struggling with is how in this 1 year of time can we really make our students so much capable that their performance in interviews is much better and they find it easy to get jobs at good salaries, so that the quality of placement statistics also dramatically improve, so that people know that not only does soil provide very good values and very good transformational learning, but also while studying in soil we can prepare better careers for ourselves. And therefore this third aspect continues to be a work in progress. This year we tried something new. We launched something called Career Saturdays. That means all Saturdays were reserved only to preparing students for better jobs through interviews, through exposure, through calling people from industry. We also worked with a company called Skill Kindle. Skill Kindle is set up by some former IIM graduates, and they are the ones who are also helping the students in ISB. So they are the ones who helped our students to learn how to do case discussions, group discussions, interviews, and that we spent significant amount of money and time in getting Skill Kindle to work for our students. But despite doing that, I think there was a gap in preparing students and actual performance in interviews. And this is a challenge that our program begins in May. The interviews start in December within 7 months. And somehow interviewers from industry expect better quality of responses from our students. And so this is the third area that I wanted to talk about as a significant challenge. I know that you cannot give off-the-hand answers, but those of you who are interested in putting your minds to these three problems that I just talked about, which is both the performance of alumni in industry, the quality of intake for applications, and the quality of performance in interviews so that the placement record improves. On all these three, the ideas and suggestions that you may have, please feel free to write to me so that we can discuss your inputs. But meanwhile, if there's anything you are moved to share here, I think I would like to also share that back with you. I think Raj Shekhar, thank you very much for being on the webinar. You are saying that there are amazing initiatives on Pune campus and we alumni are really proud of the initiative. Also, over the period of time, I realized that HRLP program is doing amazingly well, but somehow BLP program, which started as flagship program, is losing some of its limelight. What can we do or are doing to increase its visibility? I think, Raj, you are very right that therefore what we are saying is that HRLP program came into the limelight because we got that global award recently of the Game Changer Institute. But in the BLP, which continues to attract very good students, where students continue to do well, is the one with whom Nitika Batra, the chair of BLP, is now the one mandated to work as a partner with the MIP Institute in Italy. So that whole program of rebranding BLP towards design and innovation is something that we are significantly working on. And we hope that that input on putting it together as design thinking and innovation will help a lot. We are also thinking in the BLP program to have different specialization in sales and marketing, specialization in finance, specialization in operations and technology. So I think this specialization concept along with the MIP partnership will also add further value. Just like in the HRLP program, we have a partnership with Aon Hewitt for compensation and benefits. We have a partnership with Polaris Software and its subsidiary called Adrenaline on HR portal and HR system and ERP on HR. So I think which is called the HR Lab. So those initiatives have helped in improving the quality of the HR program. Similarly, on the BLP side now, on this focus on innovation and elective specializations, we are going to do that. So, but thank you for sharing that, Raj. Nice of you to share your feedback. Yeah.
We have one from Animesh who says we need
Animesh, thank you for being part of the webinar. It's always good for you to show up in all our activities. And you are, of course, you continue to be in Maruti Suzuki. I'm so happy for that. And you say that you need an Eastern alumni chapter of SOIL. Well, thank you very much for suggesting that. I think the Eastern would mean Kolkata, but or also Northeast. It would also mean the Jamshedpur, the Tata Steel alumni who are there. And I think there is a small group of alumni on Eastern region. Namrata, my request to you is to, first of all, share with the database with everybody so that they know that who are there in the so-called regions, so they can begin to connect with each other a lot more. That would be very useful. Yes? Yeah.
We have one more from Suraj.
Yeah. I think there is one more response from Suraj. So, Suraj is also writing that the Alumni Development Program is a great opportunity for all of us to meet and refresh and share and use these days to connect to the latest milestones like MIP tie-up and the exciting Pune campus program design. Also, hopefully can explore possibilities of tie-up of Pune program with institutions in Australia where outdoor education-based leadership profiling and development is picking up. Excited to visualize the opportunity of hosting you in Australia. Just heard you are in Bangalore in March, so that would be great. And Anand Patel says, regarding with respect to those few organizations which have shown no interest to come to SOIL for recruitment, I request the SOIL team to take the testimony from other 100 companies from their respective leaders about our SOILites who are not only doing great work and seeing themselves as valuable asset to the organization, but also creating brand of SOIL post-graduation. So Anand, you are very right. In fact, we already took the initiative. We have received excellent testimonials from Maverick Systems, from HCL Technologies, from Prithvi Shergill, the Chief HR Officer. We have also received from the Anand Group. So there are, you are absolutely right. I have personally written to companies to write to us and say, give us feedback, because our students in Anand Group are doing very well, HCL Technologies are doing very well, and in Maverick Systems are doing very well. These three are just examples. There are also reports of those who are doing well in other companies. So I think you are absolutely right. Those testimonials are the ones which we are now putting in the so-called SOIL stories in different parts of our website. So we will be doing more and more of that. I think there are just the last couple of minutes left of this webinar. So if there is anything you wish to say as closing remarks, I would like to keep quiet and listen to you. Animesh, you are asking, is an entrepreneurship cell on the cards for the students and alumni? Also, what are the initiatives being taken to promote entrepreneurship at SOIL? So, Animesh, in Pune campus, we hope to create an incubation center for entrepreneurship, especially with entrepreneurship of the social kind. So, in the Pune campus, that will be there. Now, in our tie-up with MIP also, this whole thing is being called Design, Innovation and Entrepreneurship. We call it DIE, D-I-E. And this is the death of the old way, which means the conventional way. And it's like the Shiva energy and the birth of the new energy, which is through entrepreneurship, new heights. So we are creating that. The MIP partnership is with specific aspect of innovation and entrepreneurship. And in Pune, we are also going to create an incubation center for that. So thank you very much for asking that question. So that gave me an opportunity to do that. So I think this is now bringing us to the end of the webinar. I want to thank each one of you for sharing, but also Animesh, you are saying what special initiatives are being planned for MLP to promote the same in industry. Animesh, basically we are trying to say that it is not just MLP, but the specialization in marketing. In fact, there is one idea on the drawing board that BLP and MLP should work together for the specialization on marketing. And so how to make the expertise and specialization in marketing better is something that we are putting our mind on, and you will hear about that in the future. So I just want to, this is coming to the end of the webinar. I want to thank each one of you for being part of this webinar, and we will end with a little closing prayer. Om Purnamida Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurabhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Thank you and bye-bye.